Pause the season 1 credits of Gilligan's Island and look at the flag behind the Minnow as it leaves Honolulu Harbor. That flag is flying at half-staff. There is a documented reason for that. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in Gilligan's Island. Number 20. The opening credits of Gilligan's Island contain one of the most unnoticed historical markers in television history. The pilot filmed its harbor departure at Ala Wai Yacht Harbor in Honolulu on November 22, 1963. Production paused when the cast gathered around a radio and heard the news from Dallas. Then they kept filming. Schwartz chose to use that footage as the permanent season 1 opening. Watch the upper right background as the Minnow clears the dock. A flag is visible for a few seconds, flying at half-staff, appearing in every black and white episode. Viewers have watched that opening for decades without registering what the flag means. Every season 1 episode carries a piece of living history in its opening seconds, and hiding in that footage is something else nobody noticed. Number 19. Look at the name painted on the hull of the Minnow during the harbor departure. It appears clearly for several seconds. What looks like a fishing reference is actually a protest aimed at a real person. Schwartz named the boat after Newton N. Minnow, the FCC chairman, who in 1961 declared television a vast wasteland. Schwartz added a second N for plausible deniability. Actor Russell Johnson confirmed it in Here on Gilligan's Isle, writing that the vessel was named in dubious honor of the man who, Schwartz insisted, had ruined television. Minow reportedly found it amusing, and the two maintained friendly correspondence for years. The castaways are stranded on the wreckage of a professional grudge. Now look more closely at who was steering that doomed boat. Number 18. The skipper's full name is spoken only twice across all 98 episodes. His name is Captain Jonas Grumby. Jonas is the Greek form of Jonah, the biblical figure whose presence on a vessel was believed to invite disaster. Among sailors, the phrase a Jonah describes someone who brings a ship bad luck. Schwartz confirmed in his Television Academy Foundation interview that every character was designed with deliberate symbolic purpose. Listen for a radio report about the missing castaways, and again when the Maritime Board of Review assigns blame for the wreck. Those are the only two moments the full name surfaces. The man who capsized the Minnow was named after the original cursed sailor, hiding in plain sight for 6 decades. That intentional design runs deeper still. Number 17. Watch any scene between the skipper and Gilligan, and the same pattern plays out every time. That was no accident. Schwartz deliberately modeled the dynamic on Laurel and Hardy, with the skipper as the frustrated straight man and Gilligan as the lovable wrecker who dismantles every plan. Alan Hale Jr. adopted Oliver Hardy's signature move, a slow, exasperated look directed straight into the camera. He learned that technique watching Hardy perform on his father's film sets as a child. According to Inside Gilligan's Island, Schwartz built the entire comedic engine around that pairing. Watch for the fourth wall glance immediately after Gilligan ruins something. Hale deploys it consistently across all 3 seasons. Once you see it, every episode plays differently. Casting this dynamic nearly went in a different direction. Number 16. Before Bob Denver ever set foot on the Minnow, comedian Jerry Van Dyke was offered the role of Gilligan outright. Schwartz wanted him. The part was his. Van Dyke's agent advised him to decline. He chose My Mother the Car, the 1965 NBC sitcom now widely cited as one of the worst shows ever made. Denver carried baggage. He was known for playing beatnik Maynard G. Krebs on The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, and Schwartz was reluctant. Watch the pilot and compare Denver's physical, pratfall-driven performance to his Dobie Gillis role. The two characters are nearly opposites. Denver's instinct for physical comedy ultimately won Schwartz over. The show exists because one comedian made the wrong call, and it was not the only near miss at the casting table. Number 15. Before Alan Hale Jr. made his cross-state journey to the CBS audition, another actor read for the skipper. That actor was Carroll O'Connor, who would later become celebrated as Archie Bunker on All in the Family. According to Inside Gilligan's Island, O'Connor came across as too unsympathetic during the audition. The role required gruff frustration layered over genuine warmth, and O'Connor could not find that balance in the room. Watch any scene where the skipper smacks Gilligan's hat and then calls him little buddy in the same breath. That emotional shift is precisely what the audition required. O'Connor would eventually master that same layered quality on All in the Family just a decade later. The casting surprises kept coming all the way down to Mary Ann. Number 14. The role of Mary Ann was completely reinvented between the unaired pilot and the broadcast series. In the original pilot, it did not exist. Her slot was filled by a ditzy blonde secretary named Bunny, played by Nancy McCarthy. When CBS ordered a series, Schwartz rebuilt the role from nothing. Raquel Welch auditioned for the new version. version. Schwartz addressed it in a 2003 Retro Crush interview, saying she was a fine actress but simply too sophisticated for the character. Pat Priest, who later appeared on The Munsters, also read for the part. Dawn Wells, a former Miss Nevada, won the role. Look at Mary Ann's gingham dress and practical demeanor in any episode. Every costume reflects the exact quality Schwartz chose over screen glamour. Number 13. The unaired pilot Marooned featured entirely different performers in 3 of the 7 roles. John Gabriel played the professor but was considered too conventionally attractive, reportedly making the character feel untrustworthy to test audiences. Kit Smythe played a sharp-tongued secretary named Ginger. Nancy McCarthy played the bunny role that became Mary Ann. CBS ordered all 3 recast before air. Their footage was not destroyed. Watch the season 1 Christmas episode, Birds Gotta Fly, Fish Gotta Talk, which reuses pilot footage in flashback sequences. McCarthy briefly appears on screen in those clips. The pilot remained unseen for 29 years, first airing publicly on TBS on October 16, 1992. 3 replacements reshaped the show entirely. One of those decisions led to a scoring credit nobody expected to find. Number 12. The unaired pilot featured a calypso-style theme composed by a musician credited as Johnny Williams. That was John Williams, who would later score Jaws, Star Wars, and Schindler's List. Schwartz wrote the lyrics himself and reportedly sang a rough version imitating Trinidadian calypso singer Sir Lancelot. The theme was scrapped because Schwartz recognized calypso music is associated with the Caribbean, not the Pacific. Williams also composed all incidental background music through every season 1 episode before Gerald Fried replaced him for seasons 2 and 3. Listen to the underscore in any black and white episode. A future Academy Award winner is scoring every scene without a credit anyone recognized. And hiding behind another name on this production is a story nobody on set was willing to openly discuss. Number 11. Natalie Schafer accepted the role of Mrs. Howell for one reason. The pilot was filming in Hawaii and she assumed the show would never be ordered. When CBS confirmed a pickup, she reportedly burst into tears, and not from happiness. Schafer was born in 1900, making her 64 at the premiere and more than 12 years older than Jim Backus, who played her husband. Nobody on set knew her real age. Her contract reportedly prohibited extreme close-up shots of her face. Watch any episode and notice that Schafer is the only castaway who never takes a physical fall across the entire run. According to the unofficial Gilligan's Island handbook by Joey Green, she instructed that her real age be disclosed only after her death. Number 10. Tina Louise arrived as a Golden Globe winner, having taken the New Star of the Year award for the 1958 film God's Little Acre. According to Russell Johnson, Louise was told she would be the central character of the series. When she discovered the show was built around Bob Denver's Gilligan, things became difficult. She clashed with season 1 director John Rich over Ginger's characterization. Louise later said she had been told the role would combine Marilyn Monroe and Lucille Ball, while Rich wanted something closer to Eve Arden. Watch Ginger's tone in early season 1 episodes. It shifts noticeably from episode to episode, a visible result of that creative conflict. TV Guide reported the other 6 cast members joked together between takes while Louise sat apart. Number 9. During season 1, Alan Hale Jr. fell from a palm tree on the CBS Studio Center backlot, missed the crash mat, and broke his wrist. He told no one. He continued filming for approximately 2 to 3 weeks, lifting Bob Denver during physical gags and performing the full Skipper slapstick range. At the season 1 wrap party, Schwartz noticed the swelling. Hale answered he had broken it a few weeks earlier. He was taken directly to a doctor and fitted with a cast. Watch the skipper's hands carefully in late season 1 episodes. Hale reportedly favored one arm and avoided certain wrist movements. The hat-smacking gag requires only downward force, which may have been the one bit that kept the injury hidden as long as it did. Number 8. The lagoon that defines Gilligan's Island was not a tropical location. It was a man-made concrete pond on the CBS Studio Center backlot in Studio City, roughly 800 yards from the Ventura Freeway. The water was 4 feet deep, unheated and unfiltered. During winter shoots, temperatures dropped between 40 and 50 degrees. Denver and Hale placed a live fish in the water to demonstrate conditions to studio executives. The fish did not survive, documented in the 2001 film Surviving Gilligan's Island. Look at wide lagoon shots in the season 3 closing credits. The curved roofline of Soundstage 3 is visible in the upper left corner behind the tree line. Every summer hiatus, the lagoon was drained and used as a parking lot. It was paved over permanently in 1995. Number 7. Russell Johnson, who played the professor, served as a bombardier in the U.S. Army Air Corps during World War II. He flew 44 combat missions in B-24 Liberator bombers, and in March 1945, his aircraft was shot down over the Philippine island of Mindanao. He was awarded the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star, then used the GI Bill to study acting in Hollywood. Johnson wrote in Here on Gilligan's Isle that as a bombardier, he was shot down over a tropical island. According to War History Online, his castmates reportedly did not learn the full extent of his service record until his funeral in 2014. Notice that Johnson is never shown without a shirt across all 3 seasons, a personal decision reportedly held from his first audition. Number 6. In Season 1, the theme song ended with "And the Rest," leaving Russell Johnson and Dawn Wells unnamed in their own show's opening. Bob Denver found it unacceptable. According to Wells, in a 2016 Forbes interview, Denver threatened to have his name removed from the credits if Johnson and Wells were not added. Tina Louise held a contract clause requiring her name appear last. Denver threatened to move his credit after hers, removing all meaning from that position. CBS refused. Denver held firm. Compare Season 1 to Season 2. The lyric shifts from "And the Rest" to the Professor and Marianne at exactly the shift to color. Wells said she did not learn of Denver's effort until a 1995 Today Show appearance, nearly 30 years later. Number 5. Schwartz had one actor in mind for Thurston Howell III before the series was written. In the 1940s, Schwartz wrote for the Alan Young Show on radio, where Jim Backus played a bumbling aristocrat named Hubert Updike III. That character became the direct blueprint for Howell. When Schwartz approached Backus, budget cuts had already reduced the Howell role to 10 or 11 lines. Rather than risk Backus reading that version and walking away, Schwartz asked him to sign without seeing the script. Backus asked whether he was expected to sign without reading it. Schwartz said yes. Backus signed. Schwartz expanded the role after the deal closed. Watch any Howell scene and listen for moments where the delivery sounds looser. Backus improvised throughout, drawing on decades of radio experience. Number 4. In the 1960s, network broadcast standards prohibited exposed female navels on American television, the same restriction that shaped Barbara Eden's wardrobe on I Dream of Jeannie. On Gilligan's Island, Dawn Wells' crop tops and Tina Louise's low-cut gowns created persistent friction with CBS standards and practices. Schwartz described the battles in Sitcom Writers Talk Shop, a 2018 book by Paula Finn. Look at Marianne's shorts in any episode across all 3 seasons. They sit precisely at the navel line, never below in every appearance. Look at Ginger's wardrobe throughout the series. Full-length gowns and covered midriffs on a tropical island every episode. That is not character logic. That is network compliance written into every costume. Camera angles and close-ups are consistently framed to avoid a bare midriff. Number 3. When an early producer departed the production, Schwartz hired himself as replacement. CBS moved to remove him and assigned producer Bill Frug to handle it. Executive Hunt Stromberg Jr. gave Frug the instruction, "Tuesday, you are going to tell him." Before that Tuesday arrived, Frug checked the latest Nielsen numbers. Gilligan's Island had climbed to number 4 in national ratings. He reported back to Stromberg. Stromberg's response, overheard by veteran producer Saul Sachs, was "Cancel the meeting. Cancel the meeting." The show had saved its own creator. The creative consistency across all 3 seasons exists because Schwartz kept his seat. Had CBS succeeded, executive James Aubrey was pushing a concept called Gilligan's Travels, a travelogue format that would have removed the island premise entirely. Number 2. While screening the pilot with CBS programming executive Hunt Stromberg Jr., Gilligan climbed a tree and Stromberg got excited. According to Inside Gilligan's Island, he proposed adding a dinosaur as a permanent recurring character, comparing it to the horse on Mr. Ed. Schwartz declined. Stromberg also pushed for an 8th regular cast member. Without telling Schwartz, Stromberg hired outside writers and had 3.5 minutes of new scenes inserted into the pilot. Those scenes tested poorly and were cut. The 7-character format that viewers spent 3 seasons watching exists because Schwartz rejected every one of those additions. The show CBS tried to reshape became one of the most beloved sitcoms in television history, and then it ended in the most unexpected way imaginable. Number 1. CBS programming chief Mike Dan had personally assured Schwartz that Gilligan's Island would return for a 4th season. Schwartz passed that assurance to his cast. Then CBS chairman William S. Paley and his wife Barbara Paley, vacationing in the Bahamas, learned that Gunsmoke had been canceled. According to Dawn Wells in a 2013 Esquire interview, Barbara Paley said Gunsmoke was her favorite show and could not be canceled. CBS moved Gunsmoke into the Monday 7:30 slot Gilligan's Island had been holding, and the sitcom was dropped to make room. Schwartz found out from trade publications, watched the final episode, Gilligan the Goddess, which aired April 17th, 1967. It ends like any other episode. No farewell, no resolution. The cast finished that day expecting to return. They never did. Gilligan's Island looked like 7 people on a simple island. Underneath that was a war hero nobody knew about, a protest name on a boat, a creator who nearly lost his own show, and a cancellation caused by one phone call. Look back at episode 1. Which hidden detail surprised you most, and what film should we open next?